In the 1960s, Ritchie Blackmore was a session player. In fact, he recorded for many big-name artists in the UK, and he once did a session involving both Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. This is what Ritchie said. I did a record with Jeff Beck once with Jimmy Page, and he was producing back in 1964 or 65. I can't remember who for, but that was interesting. It was the first time I met Jeff Beck. I always remember him playing a solo. It was a great solo, and I asked him, what's your name? And he says, I'm Jeff Beck. And who do you play for? The Tridents. And I made kind of a backhanded compliment like, I've never heard of you, but what I meant to say was, I never heard of you, but you're so good and you should have a name. It kind of stuck in his head because when I saw him again in 1967, I said, hi, I'm Ritchie. And he said, Ritchie? Sorry, I've never heard of you. But I didn't mean it that way, and he knew I didn't, the bastard. But in '64, he was a great guitar player. Ritchie Blackmore recalls that when Jimi Hendrix came to England, he actually arrived to England in September 1966. Jeff Beck came up to him and said, we got to do something about this guy. In fact, when Jimi Hendrix came to England, he blew everyone off stage, including great British players Eric Clapton and Jeff Beck. When Jeff Beck saw Hendrix's crazy performances and the huge success he had, he got upset and said to himself, what am I going to do? Get a job at the Post? So this is what Ritchie recalls. When Jimi Hendrix came to England, Jeff Beck came up to me and said, Ritchie, we got to do something about this guy. So Ritchie says, who are you talking about? And Jeff says, Jimi Hendrix. He's killing everybody over here. He's upsetting everybody. And I'm like, well, Jeff, if you can't do it, no one else can do it. Because I always thought of Jeff being the best rock player. So Ritchie has always spoken highly of Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck was actually one of Ritchie's idols. He talked about Jeff Beck a lot in the interviews, and here are some of Ritchie's quotes. Jeff Beck is my idol. Sometimes he finds notes that I just do not have on my guitar. I can turn on some jazz guitarists, and he won't do a thing for me if he's not playing electrically, but Jeff Beck's great to listen to. And Ritchie also says, I don't put myself on Jeff Beck's level, but I can relate to him, and he says he'd rather be working on his car collection rather than playing the guitar. But Ritchie also criticized Beck for not having the talent to write a song. He talked about Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck, and this is what Ritchie stated. I rate Jimmy Page as a three-dimensional guitarist. He has range, he has ideas, but he can't be everything. So sometimes he lacks on improvisation a little bit. He's so caught up with producing and everything else concerned with being a top band, or else, someone like Jeff Beck is entirely in the opposite direction. Jeff can exemplarize really well, but I don't think he can write a song. It's always someone else's tune. He doesn't have many ideas, but he's a brilliant guitarist. Cozy Powell, Ritchie Blackmore, and Jeff Beck were good friends in the late 70s. Cozy and Ritchie used to go see Jeff Beck's live performances, and they would go to the party afterwards and hang out together. Actually, the expression straight between the eyes comes from Jeff, who told Ritchie that was about seeing Hendrix for the first time.